When you look at pockets of predominantly African American or minority communities, those numbers change depending on the demographic. And I think part of that is just there is a inherent mistrust in healthcare in minority communities, particularly in the African American community. And then there is this, I think, what ended up being a total PR disaster when the CDC paused the Johnson and Johnson vaccine. Right, the biggest challenge has been overcoming that, because that then stirred in so many folks all those uncertainties and all those questions that they had, and it made folks not want to get vaccinated. And I think that we have to get to a point where the majority of our community is vaccinated, and those who can get vaccinated, in order for us to reach a true herd immunity. But we may not necessarily reach the herd immunity that we would like, and that has been a challenge. And we've been working really hard to educate the community. You know, somebody like me with a clinical background, I trust science. And historically, I know what vaccines have done to save our communities. But I come from a third world country, and my grandmother remembers yellow fever, where she lost a brother to it. And she mentions it all the time, that thanks to vaccines, they were able to overcome that back then. Or I have spoken to folks that remember polio, and how vaccines changed the course of that disease, particularly for parents, because it meant that you had a child that was completely healthy, and if they contracted polio, they could have been completely incapacitated. And I think for some people that's not real. They don't have that historical context.
Things that we can do just to be healthier.
Absolutely. So it's kind of old school, in all honesty, like going to bed at a reasonable time. All right. So making sure you get at least 6 hours of sleep a night, but ideally somewhere between closer to 8 would be ideal. Eating a healthy, nutritious diet. And I say these things because these are the secret keys that help your immune system stay strong, stay healthy. And so when we call them pathogens, but when germs approach your body, if your immune system is healthy and stronger, then you have a better chance to resist infection in the first place. And then oftentimes, if your immune system is weakened or your fight response is not as strong as some others, you can have a more complicated course. And so it's just super important to, one, take care of yourself. Two, the things that sometimes we've been putting off, like going to the dentist, going to get a physical, going to get that mammogram, that pap smear, that colonoscopy. It's time to jump back in and start doing routine healthcare,